Have you ever felt that there is more to life than what you can see and understand? That who you are today might just be a part of a much longer journey, stretching beyond the limits of one lifetime? What if you could remember moments from other times, other places, other bodies? What would that mean for you? Reincarnation is a theme that fascinates and challenges, a question that has roots in thousands of years of spirituality, religion, and philosophy. But it is also the subject of modern scientific research. Today, we will explore a story older than time itself, a story of the soul traveling from one life to the next, a theme discussed by the world's great religions and by contemporary researchers. Reincarnation in religions and cultures. A deep dive into universal beliefs. Reincarnation is more than just a concept. For many cultures and religions, it is a deeply ingrained reality. In Hinduism, the concept of samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, is essential. According to the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, just as a person changes clothes, so the soul changes bodies. In this view, reincarnation is not just a biological process, but a spiritual journey that the soul undergoes in order to evolve, learn lessons, and purify itself. In Buddhism, this idea is similar, but the emphasis is placed on liberation from this endless cycle. Buddhism teaches that the only way to escape samsara is by reaching nirvana, a state of enlightenment in which suffering and worldly desires are transcended. Thus, reincarnation is not seen as a gift, but rather as a challenge to be overcome. In ancient Greece, philosophers such as Pythagoras and Plato discussed the idea of transmigration of souls. Pythagoras even claimed to remember a past life as a soldier in the Trojan War. For Plato, the idea that the soul is reborn into different bodies was tied to his theory of archetypes and pre-existence. Plato also said that the soul is immortal, and that memories from past lives can be retrieved through the process of anamnesis, or inner recollection. The Celtic Druids, an ancient culture from the regions of Britain and Ireland, believed in life after death and the return of the soul. This vision can also be found in many ancient myths across different cultures. In fact, the concept of reincarnation was accepted in many corners of the world, and modern research is beginning to show how these beliefs, despite their diversity, contain striking parallels and similarities. Famous cases of reincarnation. Reality or coincidence? But how can we understand if reincarnation is just a legend or if there are concrete evidences? In recent decades, there have been a number of fascinating cases that seem to suggest that souls can indeed be reborn. One of the most famous cases is that of Shanti Devi, a little girl from Delhi, India, who in the 1930s began to speak about a past life in the city of Mathura, located hundreds of kilometers away. At the age of 4, Shanti started describing her family, her house, and the places in Mathura with remarkable accuracy, including details that were completely unknown to the public. Local authorities investigated the case, and the investigation committee confirmed many of the details Shanti described. She even managed to identify the family from her past life, and this case remains a reference point in reincarnation studies. Another well-documented case is that of James Leininger, an American boy who, at the age of 2, started talking about his past life as a pilot during World War II. He described planes, battles, and even the names of his comrades. At first, his parents were skeptical, but when they researched the story, they discovered that the boy mentioned details that had never been published. James's case was documented by researchers and became a subject of study on the phenomenon of reincarnation. In Sri Lanka, the case of Purnima Ekanayake amazed the scientific community when the girl started recalling a past life as a worker in a matchstick factory. Her details, including places, people, and even events that had never been published, were verified by researchers and included in academic studies on the subject. Cameron Macaulay, another child from Scotland, claimed he had lived on the island of Barra and described in detail his white house by the beach and the plane he used to travel with. After a BBC filming crew investigated the case, they confirmed many of the details the boy provided, including aspects that seemed impossible for such a young child to know. These cases are not just anecdotes, but have been documented by researchers, psychologists, and professionals in the field, such as Stevenson, who studied and documented over 2,500 cases of children who remembered past lives. Stevenson dedicated his entire career to investigating the phenomenon of reincarnation and published several books and studies presenting evidence and arguments to support this theory. Scientific explanations. What does science say about reincarnation? Of course, not everyone believes in reincarnation. Many researchers and skeptics offer alternative explanations. Some suggest that the phenomenon could be explained by cryptomnesia, forgotten memories that resurface without the person realizing, or confabulation, the process by which the human mind creates false memories to fill in gaps of information. Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, proposed the theory of the collective unconscious, suggesting that memories and traumas do not only come from one life, but are inherited culturally and archetypically. According to this theory, traumas and phobias might be linked to ancestral experiences, not necessarily to a personal past life. Additionally, some psychologists argue that people who remember past lives could be influenced by mass media, movies, books, or popular stories. However, the evidence provided by researchers like Stevenson and Tucker suggests that some of these cases cannot be explained by mere coincidence or external influences. Reincarnation, an enigma, remains. While there are theories and evidence that support the existence of reincarnation, the phenomenon remains a great enigma. Science cannot prove with certainty that the soul is reborn, but the documented cases and meticulous research make us wonder if there is something more beyond what we see and understand. Perhaps the truth lies beyond what we can prove now. Maybe reincarnation is a mystery that science will explore more deeply in the future. And what about you? What do you think? Have you ever felt like you lived somewhere, sometime before? Do you believe that your soul has traveled through time and space, going through multiple lives? If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and share your thoughts in the comments. We will explore together more fascinating mysteries.